Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Totally Primal. My name is David and I am here in Gillette, Wisconsin at the Primal Eats production facility. And behind me you're gonna see our two big rotisserie smokers. We can do 750 pounds each. Now it's not just brisket, we can do pulled pork, we can do ribs, chicken, all of our good stuff goes through those. Today we're gonna trim a prime beef brisket. So sharpen up your knives and let's get into it and I'll show you how to get it ready for your barbecue at home. So in front of me here, I have a prime beef brisket. It's got the flat on the front and it's got the point. A lot of times those two things are sold separately in the grocery store, but for barbecue purposes, we're gonna smoke the whole thing. And especially here at Primal Eats, we cook all of the brisket because each portion goes to its own special menu item. So first off, let's get it open. And I'm just gonna try and massage this meat out a little bit and flatten it out, makes it easier to trim. When they process these, what they're going to do, if you see this brown edge right here, that's actually from packaging. So they put it into a plastic bag, they vacuum seal it down, and it typically goes through some type of hot water bath or a heat tunnel, and that's what creates that brown cooked beef look. It's not bad, it actually is just from the processing, and it makes it safer for you, the consumer. I'm gonna start with this fat cap on the back side right here. I don't need all of that sitting right there. My brisket's gonna be cooked with this side down. That's just gonna drip off into the smoker. So I try to get this down into a few very simple basic cuts. So the first cut, is keeping the knife flat, and we're gonna take that right off of there like that. There's a little bit of a sinew line running down, and that's gonna go all the way down through here. That's kind of like our guideline. I'm gonna push my meat this way, and I am going to come right down through that. Not take too much of the lean, but just enough to get that brown off of there. All right, so we started right there, and then again, we got a nice little run of fat right here. I'm not gonna dig down. We don't wanna create any valleys in the meat. We're trying to do as little as possible to it. So, little cut there. Again, I'm cutting down away from my hand, and then that little piece pops out just like that. Turning it, as you can see, we still have that brown line right there. I usually try to make this just one long, simple cut. I'm using that line as my guide, and I'm looking to go from here to here. So you can kind of give yourself a little bit of a head start, maybe run your knife real shallow right there because you know where you're gonna go. And what this also does is by making this cut from this side, squares up the other side. So we have that strap right there, it's got that cooked meat on there. We don't want that for barbecue because that won't pick up a lot of smoke and it won't season very well either. We're gonna clean this up just a little bit more right here. And again, a little bit more of that line, we don't want that in there, so we're gonna just go straight down. Now we got a nice straight cut there. I got a little bit of brown left at the front here. And that's really all you need to do for that side, but again, we made this nice flat cut from the bottom side going the other way, and it's gonna make a big difference when we start trimming the other side. So let's flip it over. It takes a lot of practice to be able to navigate for how much you need to cut. If you're getting down into lean, you wanna back off a little bit and then start a little bit higher. So I'm just gonna start, this is where typically the highest fat content is on the point. So I'm just gonna start trimming that away, keeping my knife nice and flat. I'm not going into the meat. Now we're trying to get down to that nice pillowy fat underneath. Now I'm gonna do a nice flat cut across the top here and kind of find how thick my fat is, and then I can use that to gauge how much to take off here. So I'll go just like this, run it straight down. Beautiful. And you can see there, I can start to see a little bit of lean, so I kind of have an idea of how thick it is. And I can also pick it up from this side and look to see how thick that fat cap is. And actually, I'm looking pretty good. I'm looking for about a 1/4 inch of fat cap all the way along here. So I'm just gonna take a little bit more off of this edge, and it should be good on this side. When all possible, we try to expose all of the new fat from processing, but if you're gonna be getting down into lean, just leave it. It's not that important. We're gonna smoke this for 14 hours, so we want all of this to get nice and rendered down and drip over the brisket, basically basting itself as it cooks. So with this section here, I don't want to create a wedge. I'm not digging underneath and flapping it back over. I'm just going to make a nice straight cut right down the line. And you see I picked up just a shave of lean there so I can readjust and come back out. Bring it down through. I know you guys aren't going to see this as well, but we're going to go right there. To keep it safe, a lot of what your meat cutting skills comes from pulling. You're pulling with one hand and you're letting the knife kind of do the work on the other hand, but you're not forcing the knife through. So I'm going to pull and just kind of put my knife right down at the bottom there, and it just kind of pulls right out. I want this to be supported. I don't want this just kind of flapping around. So I'm not digging way underneath this fat cap here. I'm just getting a nice line to try and get this so it cooks as evenly as possible. I've got a little bit more cleaning to do right along this ridge right here. Slide forward, get your finger as a little hook. Just slide it right on down. We like to expose all of the sides of the brisket, even if it doesn't have the brown spot, because we want the best flavor profile to come through. Flatten this up a little bit so it cooks more evenly. I'm trying to take off as little lean as possible, but still trying to square all that up. I'd say we're just about done. Our brisket is all trimmed up now. Next, we have to season it, which we're gonna do that the Primal Eats way. It's very simple. We're gonna get it on a 14-hour smoke, and then I'm gonna show you just how to serve your brisket to your guests. Thanks for joining me again. I'm Dave, and we'll see you next time on Totally Primal. I'm here at the new production facility in Gillett, Wisconsin. It's also called Primal Eats. Why is this so hard today?